Well, it may have been one of the worst years on record on London's train lines, but commuters still had to endure the annual pain of a price rise today. Fares went up by an average of 3.1%, in line with inflation, a rise Labour described as a disgrace. The Transport Secretary, however, said unions were to blame for forcing up wages. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has more.
Tube and bus users saw fares rise by an average 6.8%.
Season tickets have risen by an average of 3%.
Tickets have gone up by 2.5%.
It is the 10th year in a row ticket prices have gone up in January.
If it sounds like the same old story, it's because it is. Once again, commuters coming back to work after Christmas were paying more for the privilege.
There's not enough toilets, there's people urinating in trains, the security's disgusting, I think the whole thing's a mess.
3% increase seems like a bit of a kick in the teeth.
Clearly disappointing, but I have to travel to work, so there's nothing else I can do.
The annual fare increase has become a fixture in the January calendar. All that changes is the size of the rise. This year, it's an average of 3.1%. It's commuters using Thameslink and its sister service Great Northern who have more reason than most to resent the new fares. Last year, they were forced to put up with extraordinary levels of disruption thanks to a botched attempt to launch a new timetable.
Same old, really.
Andy Huns has been on the receiving end. He travels to work in the city on a Thameslink train from Bedfordshire. His monthly ticket has gone up by more than £100.
I would pay £100 a month if I felt as if I was getting a service that was £100 a month better. But I'm not. I'm getting a service which is considerably worse.
In 2018, someone commuting from Maidenhead to London paid £3,092. In 2019, that season ticket has risen to £3,188. Last year, a monthly travel card for zones 1 to 3 in London cost £153.60. That's gone up to £158.30.
Last year really was a torrid time on the railways for many passengers, particularly in this part of the country coming into London. Timetable chaos in the summer, strikes, bad weather. How would you possibly feel you're getting good value for money from your ticket anyway, and then you stick another 3% on top of that?
The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, joined union officials at King's Cross to demonstrate against the fares increase. But the government accused the unions of being partly to blame.
The reality is, in the industry, costs rise, and the biggest upward pressure in the rail industry is on wages. Where the rail unions demand and get, with blackmail threats of national rail strikes, far bigger pay rises than anybody else.
Train companies justify the increases by promising improved services. It's an argument recycled every year. And every year, fares go up, not down. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Well, next tonight, police are investigating whether the fire that totally destroyed a self-storage warehouse in Croydon was started deliberately. 2 people arrested have been released, but officers say it is still an arson investigation. More than 1,000 people lost their possessions in the fire. And as our correspondent Simon Harris reports, many are now struggling to find out if they are fully insured.
All hope of salvaging anything has gone. All that's left of the storage warehouse is twisted and charred scrap metal. Today, demolition work began as fire crews poured more water on the smouldering remains. For Gillian Spry, it's a heartbreaking sight. She's in between homes and everything she owns was in store. Her furniture, her family photos and a lifetime of paperwork and documents.
It's my life. All I've got is what I'm wearing, my car, another pair of trousers and 2 blouses, and that's it. And everything else is in there, my whole life.
What have you been told by Sureguard?
Nothing. I haven't had a phone call from them.
Abby Rose Adams runs a business organising children's parties. More than 30 costumes, many made by her mum, went up in flames, along with technical equipment and games.
It was pretty heartbreaking to begin with. I was like, this is just going to be the end of it. How can I start again with this left over? But now it's like, I think I can come back from it. I think, trying to.
The Inferno on New Year's Eve claimed the contents of more than 1,000 storage units. The warehouse on Purley Way in Croydon didn't have a sprinkler system, but customers were sold insurance as part of their storage deal. Those customers who have contacted Sureguard have been sent an insurance claim form to fill in, but it's still unclear if their entire contents are covered. Several people we spoke to said they paid £12 a month for insurance, but were now being told they were entitled to less than £2,000. Nick Nestros stored rare books and Vivienne Westwood fashions and was far from reassured after speaking to Shawguard today.
Very legally driven conversation with Shawguard's representatives, just telling me they're glad to tell me that I've got insurance cover. It's only £2,000, so it barely covers maybe, 3% of what was actually in there.
The local MP is calling on Shawguard to act swiftly to reassure those who've lost everything.
It's completely unacceptable that it took Shawguard 24 hours to even communicate with their customers at Purley Way, and it's unacceptable that they're almost impossible to get hold of.
Tonight, Shawguard issued a statement saying customers could choose between Shawguard's insurance cover or arranging it through their own broker, and the level of cover was flexible. Simon Harris, ITV News, Croydon.